Kenya, vibrant, beautiful, bold. This East African country, uniquely in the Southern Hemisphere, is home to biodiversity. To people with staunch love for their country and leadership, this is a nation on a mission to level up to global agendas. But amidst it all, a challenge.
The world is faced with grave environmental crises, including climate change, biodiversity loss, land and ecosystem degradation, pollution and waste that threaten the survival of mankind. The world is also grappling with the devastating effects of COVID-19 pandemic, and countries are developing national strategies to build back better.
Globally, biodiversity remains at risk, owing to factors such as climate change and pollution, which have seen Kenya suffer tremendously. Climate change has caused negative impacts to the livelihoods of thousands of people, livestock, and plants.
It is increasingly evident that environmental crises are part of the journey ahead. Wildfires, hurricanes, high temperature records, unprecedented winter chills, plagues of locusts, floods, and droughts have become so commonplace that they do not always make our news headlines.
On the other hand, despite the 2017 ban, plastic waste continues to devastate the health of the ecosystem. But Kenya is rising to the challenge, pursuing a culture of people who understand the depth of these crises to nature and their lives. To protect the marine life, local conservationists monitor the marine and sensitize fishermen on the right fishing nets to use.
Tumekuja kuona rasilimali zetu zinaendelea kupotea na kuisha kabisa kwa sababu ya watu wamekuwa wengi na matumizi mabaya ya ala za uvuvi zimeleta athari kubwa sana kwa mazingira na rasilimali zetu nyingi zimepotea na zimekosekana.
To reduce plastic waste pollution in their surroundings, recycling projects and cleaning activities are flooding various townships.
Our country has tried a bit on this plastic waste management, although we still see some polythene papers coming in, probably from neighboring countries, because you know we have porous borders. We still have the plastic bottles that we need to take care of. We have a policy which has come up on waste management. Actually, it's a bill and it was passed. So we are just looking to implement the same.
To capture carbon emissions and reduce the effects of global warming, communities come together to plant mangrove trees while organizations implement various projects.
The program I work for, which is ProClima, it promotes the environmentally friendly cooling technologies. We are talking of technologies that use natural refrigerants. And the program has been collaborating with the Ministry of Environment and Forestry, and specifically the National Ozone Unit, to implement the provisions of Montreal Protocol and its Kigali Amendment.
To safeguard forest cover against encroaching deforestation activities, tree planting is fast becoming a norm.
Our mandate is to listen to people, listen to wananchi on issues to do with the environmental degradation. But today we are in Kakamega Forest to join hands with Kenya Forest Service to use this rain season to plant trees so that we can increase our forest cover in this country.
Kenya's leadership through Ministry of Environment and Forestry also facilitates policies expected to secure a future of hope for the country's ecosystems. For example, the Kenya National Environmental Action Plan (NEAP), completed in 1994, the Environment Management and Coordination Act (EMCA) of 1999, and the various multilateral environment agreements that form the basis of survival and well-being of Kenyans.
Kenya has commenced action to tackle the triple planetary crises, and that is the Climate Change Act and the National Climate Change Action Plans by both our national as well as our county governments. These are examples of the legislative action that we are taking as a country. My administration has also put in place policies to address biodiversity, loss, pollution, protection of our forests, and the sustainable use of our environmental resources, including our oceans.
Kenya has committed to, among others, restore 5.1 million hectares of degraded landscapes and to halt the conversion of forests to other land cover classes by 2030. Further, Kenya's updated nationally determined contributions with new ambitious commitments contain interventions that will greatly benefit and promote the attainment of its land degradation neutrality target. In addition, Kenya is finalizing its long-term greenhouse gas emission strategy 2050, which will, among others, enhance the scope of nature-based solutions.
Amongst continents, nations, and a people determined to make a difference, Kenya, alongside partners, have been at the forefront of drafting, promoting, and implementing inclusive conservation scopes that seek to rejuvenate nature and empower women and youth.
As a country, Kenya's commitment to the environment is unwavering. We acknowledge the Sustainable Development Goals and our Agenda 2030. And we also acknowledge that these cannot be realized if we leave our environment out of the equation. The environment holds and can provide solutions to most of the challenges we face as humanity. And in this regard, Kenya has firmly anchored the environmental pillar in our country's blueprints, and that is our Kenyan Vision 2030, as well as our Big Four agenda.
In addition, the partnership between Kenya and the United Nations Environmental Programme, Unep, supports various environmental programs that validate the country's Big Four agenda, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, and the environmental pillar in the Vision 2030. Unep's strategic location in Kenya has enabled nations to enjoy a platform that thrives to advance global environmental agenda for 50 years.
Looking back 50 years of the existence of Unep, there's no doubt that Unep has done very well over that period, despite the fact that there are still quite a number of challenges in the world. But over that period, Unep has done well in its mandate. First, we see all the countries, majority of the countries have been able to sign up and ratify multilateral trade agreement, multilateral environmental agreements. And Unep has been instrumental in providing the necessary support, galvanizing intergovernmental action around implementation of those agreements. Unep has also been very instrumental in providing scientific evidence that have formed the basis of decisions being made, because decisions are important to be made, but they also need to be based on sound science. And Unep has been at the forefront in providing that information.
This is a historic milestone that will be marked after the oncoming 5th session of the United Nations Environmental Assembly.
Kenya is the world's environmental capital, and we are proud to host the United Nations Environmental Programme headquarters in our country. This being the only UN headquarters in the Global South. I want to take this opportunity to assure Unep and the United Nations family that we in Kenya are committed to continuing to support Unep's activities in Kenya.
Beyond Unep at 50, Kenya will remain resilient. Kenya will adapt to global strategies and policies to avert the triple planetary crisis. Kenya will promote a sustainable relationship between her people and the planet.
Going forward, given that the mandate, the challenges facing the world on environmental arena are increasing, and so we need for the next 50 years UNEP to focus more on environmental governance, to ensure we implement the environmental laws we have set in place, to support countries to implement the multilateral agreements that they have already signed up to and ratified, to support countries and also the Environmental Assembly, the World Environmental Assembly that is responsible for key decision making with the requisite scientific knowledge that will lead to great quality decisions.